we're talking quiet quitting today. It is going around the media like crazy. It's something that picked up steam over the last couple of months. And what quiet quitting refers to is basically workers saying, hey, I'm only going to do what you pay me for. I'm only going to do 40 hours of work. I'm not going to be willing to take calls after work, over the weekends, things like that. So it's basically saying, hey, I'm just going to do what I was employed to do. I'm not going to go above and beyond. And the new terminology for it is quiet quitting. Now, depending on your age and your generation, you may know this as some other terminology. I've heard coasting, I've heard just not caring anymore. So, this phenomenon, I don't think is new. Some of the things that I've seen have been people placing it on this new generation when it's really not a new thing. It's just how it's being talked about and how it's being discussed now is new. It started pretty much becoming a TikTok trend. Now it's just basically people are blaming, oh, well, that's that Gen Z doing that TikTok thing and they're just don't want to do work. They want to be lazy. Well, I don't really think that's the case. When I went to look back at the origin of this quiet quitting, it really seems like it's tracing back to China. Now, China has this work culture called 996, which basically means you work 9 to 9, 6 days a week. And this is something that's been going on for years now. Because of that, you could potentially see why the origin could be from China. So I'll show a couple of articles of this. This is from New York Post, just talking about surprising origin, quiet quitting trends within multiple countries. What it was called in China, though, was called lying flat. In China, it was known as lying flat. Here we call it quiet quitting. It is basically a 9 to 9 type of culture, 6 days a week. I've seen this before. I've read about it. If you thought we worked in the US, they were really working over there. My thing about the quiet quitting piece is I think about it as with the media picking this up and how they slant this story. Do they make this story more about the do they make the story more about the employee or do they make it more about the company or what are they going to make the story about? My thought process is as I'm seeing it now and I'm hearing some people's reactions to it, they make it seem like it's just Gen Z is just trash, right? They don't want to work, they're entitled to that and the other. I get all of that. Every generation that comes out tends to be trash to the old generation, it seems like, because they're different. They view the world differently, they want different things, they have different perspectives, and they want to make a change, which is normal when you're the youngest. You really have a drive to make change and you have really just your youth and your energy to be able to make the change where you don't necessarily have the wisdom at that point in time, depending on who you are. But I'm talking about generation as a whole. Now, what I'm thinking about is the fact that will the media just continue to basically drive this as a conversation of, oh, people in America don't want to do work without understanding the cause of it, without understanding what is the driving force for people to be experiencing this. Some of the things that have happened since COVID are unprecedented. And because of that, we're in a different type of time. The stress levels are extremely high. We're in a time where we haven't experienced these things before. So, really, no one has any experience to fall back on. And it's happening at a pace, at a speed at which we've never seen before as well. So, this is a time where true leadership has to shine, has to start showing itself because you can see behaviors are changing. You can see how people are viewing certain behaviors are going to impact how we do things across the world. The problem that I'm worried about is, again, companies, people who are highly visible as CEOs who can say certain things can take this narrative from the media and use this as a reason to say people are lazy. That's my concern. Because I don't really believe that people are lazy as a whole. Do they have lazy people? Yes. As a whole, no. Now, this article from Harvard is all talking about quiet quitting is about bad bosses, not bad employees. Refreshing to see this other perspective of it because so much of what I've heard before, not just from the media, but even just from general people online, oh, those Gen Zers don't really want to work. Well, let's see the situation that they've been involved with to have to work through. Is that the cause of it? Is the company the cause of it? Is the not even the company, is the relationship with the manager the cause of it? People have this realization that life is more important at times. If you think about what happened with COVID, think about how the world changed and how everything had to transition, priorities shifted, You got a chance to actually be home. You didn't have to struggle or stress out to go to work. But then now you're starting to see inflation go crazy, stock market going down. There's a lot of things going on. There's war. There's a lot of things going on that contribute to the fact to say, well, man, what am I dealing with that is forcing me to get to this point? Have I been overworked even throughout this time? Because even though we were in COVID, it didn't mean that we stopped doing work. For a lot of us, people started doing work at a higher rate because we were home. We had more time to work, so we worked. So it's quiet quitting, saying to myself and saying to others, I got to take care of me first. And part of taking care of me is making sure that I'm signing off and not staying online because I got to protect my bubble. Otherwise, if I don't protect me, I can't do anything. So quiet quitting could actually be a protection factor so that I can stay in the game long term if I'm an employee. The cause of it, the root of it, before we judge it as managers, before we judge it as executives, let's understand the cause of it and the root of it. If it's even going on in our organization, because it may not even be happening. Do we have a 996 happening in our companies, in our cultures? Is that okay? If it is okay, how long do you expect people to last without the balance? They do the work to live a quality of life, right? Well, if we can't live a quality of life, then what's the purpose of doing the work? That's where the economic factors come into play. Because if I see that, hey, the cost of living is so high that I don't even have a shot, what's the point? Why not pack it up and just do what I can do and then just live? That way I can have at least a peaceful life. So understanding the root cause of this is very, very important before we just say a whole generation of people are trash. And also let's be mindful of how it's spun on the media. Again, my thing is like, are we gonna make employees the bad guys? Is that what we're gonna do? We shouldn't, because everyone's still doing the work. They're gonna always be doing the work, getting things done, moving the economy forward, moving the company forward, making sure we make profits. Always gonna be the case. Yes, automation, biotech, whatever, somebody's gonna run something. It will always be there. So I think it's important to say, okay, quiet quitting is the thing people are talking about. It. What's the root of it? What do I need to understand about it? Because the fact of it that it came out labeled as quitting when it's really not even quitting, that should tell you something about it as well. Cool. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you hated it. But I'll see you in the next one.